gloves boxer, and she is now spending a lot of time with Liberate New York, basically fighting not just in the ring, but fighting for basic freedoms such as the right to choose vaccines for ourselves and for our children. So, Kara, just come up here. And Kara is going to be joined by her partner in Liberty Work, Donald Joseph.
Everybody, thank you for all of you coming out tonight. We're all united for great causes. We're here as a group, so give yourself a round of applause for showing up today. I would like to also point out that there's no media here because the media hates to see people united. They hate to see people getting along. So of course, if we announced that there would be fights in the street, they would be here, but they're not here. I don't know if any of you have been checking your cell phones, but I would like to report the fake news of the day. Fake news of the day. CNN, the piece of garbage, just announced Joe Biden is the winner of the presidential election. Boom! Fake news. We will not concede. 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 I encourage every one of you, this is fake news. Do not believe it for a second. Donald Trump is going to fight this, and we are going to get his back every step of the way. The news has been grooming us for this. As we all know, we've all been here since the very beginning. The medical community, we know what it feels like to be debunked. We know what it feels like to be censored. They have censored us like never before the past few days since November 3rd. I have never thought I would see it in my life, and it has gotten really bad in the past 9 months. But in the past 3 days, I never thought that censorship could get this bad, where Reddit is actually announced that anything mention of election fraud will automatically be removed from their site, where Twitter censored the president of the United States the night of the election, where Facebook removed the Stop the Steal groups that had hundreds of thousands of members, where the news has been just grooming every day, slowly, that Biden won this election. I went to bed on an election night confident Donald Trump won, okay? He was ahead by millions of votes, and overnight they found millions of absentee ballots. I don't believe it. It's BS, and neither should you. We have to stay positive. We have to keep the morale up. I just spoke to, as I was right over there, and we were all looking at our phones. People have tears in their eyes. People want to cry. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm so tough. For the past 3 days, I'll be in my bathroom washing my face, and all of a sudden, I'll just I can't believe this is happening in my country, that they're stealing an election. It's an election coup like no other. This is things that we hear about in history that happens in other third world nations, not our country. Not America. And Democrats agree, whether you believe it or not. One of my brothers is the biggest liberal you could ever imagine. Okay, he hates Donald Trump. Okay, sometimes I don't know how relatable we are, and I love him. And not that brother, another brother I'm talking about. Not him. He texted me, this is the biggest fraud I've ever seen in my life. Democrats see it, and they should be afraid, and they should be paying attention, because this could happen to them just as quickly as it's happening to Donald Trump. It could flip-flop, and they should be very afraid. And this is about liberty. It's not about Democrat, Republican. Okay? Why do we, the people, not decide deserve election transparency. Why are they not being transparent? Why are they saying that? Why are they debunking us so quickly? Back in the day, a news reporter, a real news reporter, or an investigator would jump on a story like election fraud. Now they jump on debunking it. We deserve transparency, okay? And we should demand transparency. And I don't know. We all have to regroup and figure out what the next steps are. We have to keep the morale up. We have to keep doing rallies like this. We have to keep putting the tweets out there, our own social media stuff out there. It will get censored. That's because they're afraid. Just keep putting it out there, Spread the word. Reach out to the younger generation. I realize how important they are. And I'm not talking about exactly millennials. I mean the age 24 and under, because they know about technology and they're a real ally, and they're young and they're still impressionable, where I think they're able to absorb the truth more. So really reach out to that generation. I had a lot of other stuff I was going to speak about today, but I just heard that fake news and it really kind of ticked me off and put me in a bad mood. I was already in a bad mood for the past 3 days, I'm not going to lie. Cuomo's got to go. Okay? Cuomo's got to go. 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 Cuomo's gotta go. You know he's in there wherever he is. He's doing jumping jacks for joy right now when he's watching fake CNN. He's salivating at the mouth because he can be more tyrannical now. With his mask mandates, his social distancing garbage, his possible mandatory vaccination. Him and Biden are just in bed together as far as I'm concerned. And this is just another, he's going to have more reason to feel like he could get away with his nonsense. And we have to start grooming someone now. The election for him, to get him out is in 2 years. He has to go. We have to find candidates now, whether they be Democrat or Republican, and start putting their faces in the media now. He cannot have another term in office. Lives depend on this. Okay? Throw him out! 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 The enemy, the fundamental enemy. I'm going to close on this, and I'm sorry to be on a negative point today, but you have to know your enemy to be able to fight them. It's the fake news. We all know that. The mainstream media, Hollywood propaganda artists are full of it. Celebrities are owned by the left. I don't care what you say. Social media has sold out to the government. Okay, we have to figure out a way to get rid of them. I don't know what the answer is. So if any of you have the answer, please reach out to me, because I'm willing to do anything to get rid of this horrible, horrible establishment that we have right now going on in America. Hopefully, everybody can open their eyes. Hopefully that we will have the election integrity that we deserve in America. This means so much to the medical community. The last thing I heard was that Biden wants a national mask mandate. He's completely on board with mandatory vaccination. A Biden volunteer called me trying to convince me to vote for Biden. And I said, why do you want to vote for Biden? And he said, because he has a really comprehensive contract tracing plan, and I think that's really important. I think that's garbage. I'm like, that's why I don't want to vote for Biden. Okay, so everything Biden stands for is against medical freedom, and for getting him into office is the enemy right now. Okay, we can't have him in office. We have to fight it at all costs. Keep the morale up. Do not retreat. Do not show weakness. Do not surrender. We will not surrender to Biden. Donald Trump is the rightful president of the United States of America. He will not be overthrown. President Trump. Okay? We stand behind President Trump. And we will not concede. Take that message away with you today. Spread it to your friends and family all around the United States. We will not concede. 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 Thank you, everybody. I'm Kara Castanova from Liberated New York. Find me on social media. Reach out to me. Tell me He's an activist, an author, and he's part of Liberate New York. He's a real patriot. Put your hands together.
Thank you, guys. We're living in a time that is a crossword in our history. How the world was before Tuesday is different now, and as we go forward. And as we go forward, we have to go forward with what we know is right. Not what we think is right, but what we know is right. Somebody telling you to put something in your body, a needle, some chemicals that you do not know what it is wrong. This situation is an individual thing as well as a universal thing, because when it comes down to getting a shot in your arm, you are going to have to decide that for yourself. Yeah. I cannot be there with you and tell you if something is wrong. So it's going to be a lot of people to tell you, to convince you that it is right, because their leaders are telling you that it is right, but we know that it is wrong. That's wrong. Yeah. Everybody is mad about the elections, no more than me. I am very excited, but this is the time where we have the opportunities to correct all the wrongs that has been done to us. As they think that it's over with, it's time to start a new political party, a Trump party. If they thought the Tea Party was something, let them hear what this new Trump party is going to do in the midterms. We have to stick together as like-minded, righteous people, and we have to always do what's right, keep love in our hearts, and stay focused on God. Not me, not the speaker, because they got people now that can talk to you and talk to you to do anything. They got people can talk to you to even sell yourself. Don't listen to people, listen to what the word of God is and what is right. Because in the long run, it's the decisions that you make that's going to carry forward with your life and the life of your family. Do what is right. In order to fight, we have to have strategies on what we're going to do when we fight. We can talk about fighting all day long. What is the strategy? Do we stand in front of clinics? Do we protest in front of clinics? But when you talk about fighting, we have to fight, not just talk about it. Let's plan strategies. Let's get active. Let's work. Let's make changes. Let's not just talk. Let's spread the news. This is not, if you want to know what the woman just come up here talking about, the chemicals with the brain, all you have to do is go to South Central Los Angeles, my home. I left South Central Los Angeles over 30 years ago, and when I go back, all I see is zombie-like people. If anybody ever been to South Central Los Angeles, you have seen the human zombies. They disguise as being homeless. These are the same people that used to occupy the houses, the homes, the communities. Now these are the homeless people talking to the moon, talking to the people, whoever they talking to, who are not there. They have nothing but clinics that opened and closed in the last 30 years that I've been gone, and it's just something that happened in that city, and nobody said nothing, and that is a Democratic city. We have to protect our children. And if they don't get us through the vaccine, they're going to get us through what we eat. They'll put it right in the food stamp. It's going to be a lot of ways they're going to try to get you, but you're going to have to be smart. Because you're dealing with smart people. You're dealing with people with all kind of degrees in science, biology, and all kind of stuff. And they'll be able to put it in your food, and while you're out there protesting, get the bottle of water, they have already got you. You're going to have to be careful about everything that you intake in your body, from water to a piece of bread. You cannot trust people longer. If it's not big pharma, big insurance companies, it's big, insurance companies, oil companies, pharmaceutical companies, technology, banks. Come on now, we're all in this together. Culture, our religion, school, education, Walmart, Target. Come on now, we're all in this together. We got the idea. As long as we all come together with our ideas, let's come together and figure out how we can fight and stop it. Let's end the talk. Let's begin the war. Let's love. Let's move. Let's act. Let them see us through our actions, because actions speak louder than words. Love speaks louder than hate. Where a lot of civilizations failed at, right? It's like the woman said, but how they really failed at as well is they start compromising with what was wrong. Wrong and right cannot walk together. Wrong is wrong and right is right. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for coming out.
I'm saying one last thing. Like I said, we will not concede, and Trump is not losing this election. He's the rightful president of the United States of America. But who here thinks that the two-party system sucks? Maybe this is the end of the two-party system. Who here is following Donald Trump if they dare steal this election from Donald Trump? Third party. Donald Trump is going to start his own party. He's not going to lose, but that is what's going to happen. I promise you that. And the GOP is done, okay? And half the Democrats are done. They will follow this new party. So I think that the establishment they better be careful what they wish for in taking Donald Trump out, because he will start his own party, and the rest of them will no longer have jobs. Okay? We will not concede. Thank you, New York.
Thank you, Karen. Donald. Folks, there's a quote that just sort of came to my mind as I've been listening to the last couple of speakers, and it's by the poet Audre Lorde, and I'm probably going to screw it up, the quote, but I can give you the gist of it. And what she said is that you cannot break down the master's house using the tools of the master.
That's right.
And I think that really applies to us. I mean, I think all of us know that our days on Facebook are numbered, right? It's getting impossible to communicate with our people. We're getting shut down. We're getting kicked off. We're getting limited. We're getting ghosted. And the same is going to be true. The same is true with Google, Instagram, all the sort of social media that we have out there. And we're going to have to go somewhere else. But it's going to have to be more than that, folks, because we got to get rid of the master's tools. That means we got to get rid of the master's operating system on our digital devices. Okay. At some point, Android's going to have to go. We're going to have to come up with a completely different way of communicating, because master is not going to let us do that. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know where we're going to go, but I think we all realize that we're going to have to do that, and we're going to have to start basically opting out of the master's world, right? Opting out of the master's bank, opting out of the master's communication systems, opting out of the master's networks, and establish our own.
Yes.
What we're going to do and where we're going to go. Anyway, our next speaker, probably most of you know her, Peter Palma. She's been active in this war for at least 10 years. We have been working together very, very closely for at least 5. And with no further ado, Peter.
Thank you. Okay, everybody's obviously got the news on their phone. I want to ask everybody a question here. Raise your hand if you remember President Dewey. Anybody remember President Dewey? Yes. Because he didn't exist. In 1948, thousands of papers were printed. News is nothing new, and we all just got it on our phones 10 minutes ago, right? Does everybody remember President Truman? Of course everybody remembers President Truman, because he's the guy who actually won. History repeats itself because we don't learn from it. The path of this president and this presidency is
is beyond our scope to control. He fights back, and we have to continue to as well. So much for the fake news. We've all read fake news, right? New York Times, Washington Post, what they do with our issue, it's all a bunch of BS. How many people have screamed at the TV when they've covered vaccine choice or epidemics or the measles or all that nonsense that we've all heard of? We've screamed at the TV, we threw down our papers, we shut down our tablets because it's fake news. But there is some real news out there that I'd like to share with you. And October 17th, the New York Post did an actually fair article on our issue, and I was one of the subjects discussed in it. One paragraph in, this is a quote from a nurse that the Post chose to lead the article with. She says, "It scares me that I got so many free lunches and free dinners because I pushed the flu vaccine. What am I going to get when I push the COVID vaccine? Whoops, cat's out of the bag." 1 million people read that and say, "Hey, what's up? I get my flu vaccine every year." The nurse, the doctor is getting incentivized? I didn't know that. So sorry if you got shut out of Facebook for reposting the article, but we got it out there anyway. It got a lot of recognition and people are starting to question. I'll give you some other real news. In New York State, we made progress with specifically vaccine choice candidates. In fact, our major newspaper on Long Island, and not to make our neighbors feel bad, but Connecticut and New Jersey did not. The reason that we made the progress that we did was because we were hit with the nuclear bomb of June 13th. And you find people, and the thousands more that you represent, came forward and started talking and haven't stopped since. We have to continue to educate. We have to continue to do what we've been doing. I have been blessed with a senatorial candidate who won her election handily, who watched vaccine injury in her own daughter. Folks, she is one of us. John and I met with her. Our first meeting was 4 hours long, and it could have gone on for hours longer. She was honest with the media about where she stood. She's like, "Wait, why do you need a religious exemption? Why can't you just say no because they're your kids?" Ten years ago, I never thought that we would have had that conversation. We're having conversations, real conversations that will materialize into real legislative bills about an informed consent bill, which will turn into law if it is the last thing I do. We have a right to say no to medical procedures. If Donald Trump says we have a right to try, then for God's sakes, we have a right to deny. This is wrong what's going on. But fake news is declaring a president without him officially being in. We cannot stand for this. And the way that we don't stand for it, we have to vote our way out of it. A couple of months I was here back in the park talking how we're going to vote our way out of this. New York has taken an important step forward. Our newspaper down there, Newsday, they didn't endorse our vaccine choice candidates, save one. They won anyway. Most of them won anyway. They actually called, you're going to love this one. They called Senator Alexis White. You'll all get to know her really well. Who's going to be my senator. They called her more dangerous than Senator Martinez, my former senator, because Senator Martinez supported choice as well. And the reason that they both supported choice is because I wield influence in my district. I raised my candidates money. I raised them votes. I built awareness. I convinced people one by one. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much about me. But this is a power that all of us have. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. They have to be brought into the fold. COVID vaccine, the COVID and the vaccine, the mandatory vaccine issue is God's gift to our movement. We need to run with it. Over half of the country does not want to take the COVID vaccine. We have to sing our song because the media is ready. Our neighbors, our family, our friends are ready to talk about it. So Okay, this is a letter that I received from Alexis White way back when. I didn't make it particularly public because it's a touchy issue, and I didn't want to bring an argument into her election that didn't need to be brought in. But I'll read you some quotes from it. I believe we need to have the option of choice. Medicine should not be mandatory. It is a choice. On a bigger note, we need to ensure that vaccinations being offered are not harmful. I would work with the federal government, meaning Lee Zeldin, meaning Andrew Garbarino, who are my two neighboring congressmen, to restore liability, read my hat, to vaccine manufacturers for harm created by their products. Alexis goes on to say, far too many of my friends can pinpoint the moment their healthy bundle of joy was suddenly struck with a fever and was never the same again after receiving a vaccine. And I know that's many of your sad stories that I'm talking today, and I'm sorry for that. We'll make our way back from this. We're going to make things right with mandatory vaccines. The way that you all can do it is continue to spread awareness and vote our way out of this. Make sure you're registered. Make sure you know where your candidates stand. A group of 6 showing up to a candidate's office can make all the difference. At this point, our message has been heard loud and clear. We were conspicuous about supporting our candidates. They're hearing us. We're getting a target list together for 2022, which is not far away. The election season starts the day after Election Day, as they say in wrestling, and that is, we're focused on 22 and targeting more candidates to get them out and get the good ones in. We can vote our way out of this. Don't listen to the fake news. Stay the course. Trump 2020.
Thank you, Rita. Glad I don't have to follow that. Our next speaker, folks, is Victoria Alexander. She is a novelist, she is a researcher, and she is an activist, and she is a biosemioticician, which I find really interesting. I have no idea what it is. So, take it away.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting to be introduced that way. I was a 2020 candidate for Congress on the Libertarian line, and I am officially running again. I want all of you out there to get in contact with the Libertarian Party and run for Assembly and run for State Senate. We need people. It's going to be a fight because Governor Cuomo snuck in some illegal legislation in the COVID bill to get rid of third parties. COVID is being used as an excuse to do all sorts of outrageous things. I'm a complex systems researcher. I look at biological information processing, and I can tell you that bodies do not process information the way that machines do. And that's the kind of thing that's being pushed on us by a big pharma. Don't listen to them. Now, some parents say that they have the right to make decisions for their children however they see fit. I say parents have the responsibility to protect their children's health, to ask doctors, friends, and to do research. You have the responsibility. We are not here just to defend our individual freedoms. We're here to do the work of responsible people against tyranny. We must overturn the 1905 Jacobson versus Massachusetts decision that claimed that mandated public health procedures serve the greater good. This is the type of reasoning that is used by fascist regimes to get good, intelligent people to do harmful things. No ethical government forces a person to risk harm for the greater good. Our Constitution is designed to protect the most vulnerable minority, the individual. A civilized government does not force a healthy person with the threat of a fine or denial of services to get a vaccine, to wear a mask, or to stay home on the grounds that that person might potentially cause harm. This is to punish an imaginary pre-crime. But we wear masks because we don't want businesses to be fined. We care. Good. We care about other people, and they know that about us, and they take advantage of us, and there's something very sinister about that. Certainly, no child should be getting the COVID vaccine. Not only is it unsafe, it is clearly unnecessary for a disease with a very low fatality rate. To echo the poet Percy Shelley, whose words inspired the peaceful civil disobedience of Gandhi and Martin Luther King, we who don't want to force other people to do anything are the many, and they are the few.
Thank you, Victoria. You're next. You did that here? Okay. Good. You don't want to break your leg? Thank you. So, folks, we have heard from some Republicans. We have heard from a Libertarian. And now we are going to hear from a Democrat. And a candidate who took on Brad Hoylman, Senator Brad Hoylman, the person that got the religious exemption repeal. He's also the guy behind the bill to mandate flu shots. He's also the guy behind the bill that made it automatically legal for pharmacists in New York to give COVID-19 vaccines if and when they ever approve them. You can go on down the next day to your CVS or Rite Aid and get it. And Liz's family was affected by the repeal, and she lives in Hoylman's district. And she said, "I'm going to take this guy on." And she performed very, very well against him. Probably outspent like 900,000 to 1, if maybe more. But she still got 35% of the vote in the middle of Manhattan against the establishment Democrat candidate and raised herself as a Democrat. So let's hear what Liz has to say.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Louder? Is that good? How's that? Like that? Okay, like a rock star. Okay. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Glass. It's a privilege to be here today. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get right to the point. Who wants to take back power from these fascists in this building? So before I describe how we're going to do that, first a brief introduction. John already said a little bit, but I'm a teacher. I live in the East Village with my 4 kids, and I'm not in politics at all. But in June, well, I wasn't that. In June of 2019, the two youngest of my 4 kids were kicked out of school because of the repeal of the religious exemption, and it was sponsored by my state senator Brad Hoylman. And as John already said, he was already also sponsoring bills to force the HPV vaccine, mandatory flu shots, and 2 bills to make it so kids could get shots without parental knowledge or consent. It's absolutely terrible. So just so you know, unlike in previous generations, kids today, New York kids are mandated to get 72 doses of 16 vaccines in order to attend school. And so these bills infuriated New Yorkers across the state. So we organized, and that's exactly how we're going to take back power. We organize and we unite. So we started a group called Vote Hoylman Out on Facebook, and I invite you to join that group. And we started to protest. And let me tell you, I'm the loudest protester on this planet. But protesting alone will not take back power. We need to organize and we need to unite the state by senatorial district and by assembly district.
But first, let me tell you about what happened with the campaign. Another thing that people are saying that this is Republican versus Democrat. That's completely not true. A lot of people in my district, they hurt the medical freedom movement by switching to Republicans. Do you know why? My district is 65% Democrat. The only way to challenge a corrupt Democrat in that kind of a district is to primary them. So I have friends that switched to Republicans and they screwed the medical freedom movement. Do you know what I mean? So you have to be smart about how you go about the parties. And God bless the libertarians. Where's Victoria? Anyway, yes, Victoria, the libertarians are great. Sorry. So I was a loudmouth activist, and in that, people were telling me horror stories about kids, women who worked in schools, about kids getting Gardasil shot at school without parental knowledge or consent. And the package insert says death as a side effect, death, paralysis, and it was just heartbreaking. And so we couldn't find someone to challenge him. We looked and looked. And so I said, someone has to stand up for these kids. So I decided to challenge him myself. Because it goes beyond, that goes beyond corruption. This is all before COVID. This goes beyond corruption. It's just evil to do that to children. So, so I have no political experience whatsoever, and a fantastic fear of public speaking. So sorry. But I was able to find very good people who knew politics, who had the same values as me. And so despite being an unknown grassroots candidate with dramatically less money, we got 34% of the in-person vote in the Democratic primary. So he got 11,000 plus votes, and I got 6,000 plus votes. And you want to hear the great news? So shortly thereafter, Hoylman announced that he would not be seeking re-election in 2020. Because our campaign exposes political vulnerability. We ended the state-level career of the second most powerful politician in New York. So, how did we do that? Did I do that? No, it was not me. It was we. It was because we organized an army of outraged parents. And that's how we're going to take back power in 2022 from these fascists. Because if we do not have the right to control what is injected into our bodies, we are slaves. And if there's one thing that my campaign showed, the powers that be, that if they're going to treat us like slaves, we're going to fight back. I just want to also thank the donors, the volunteers, my family, my daughter's here, hi sweetie, and my heroic campaign manager. So right now, a large group of us from across the power, we need your support. Please donate at glassforsenate.com to fund this grassroots effort to organize the state with the goal of creating a PAC, a political action committee, to find and support medical freedom activists throughout the state. And that's how we take back power. Trust me, this is what needs to be done. So many have said to me, and I've heard this before, many have said to me, thank you for standing up and fighting. But this is very important. It unnerves me when I hear people say that, because no leader is going to save us. Trump is not going to save us. Biden certainly is not going to save us. RFK is not going to save us. Q is not going to save us. The only one who's going to save us is us. We need thousands. This is a unique time in human history. Everyone has to stand up and say, no, I do not comply with your own enslavement. Do not comply with Cuomo's fascist executive orders as make-believe laws. They're not laws. Laws have to go through the Senate and the state assembly. He cannot make laws. It's completely illegal. So let's see. So we need to step out of our comfort zone, spread awareness, and organize locally. And please follow me on social media. The links are at glassforsenate.com and email me at glassforsenate@protonmail.com. Thank you. Oh, okay. So that was going to be it. But then last night I saw the New York State Bar Association. So I have some things to say about that. So You know, it's very, very worrisome if they have a committee dedicated to drafting legislation to forcing the COVID vaccine on all of us. And I mean, how dare they? They're not doctors. It's just absolutely shocking, absolutely shocking. So a lot of people have already spoken about the COVID vaccine, so I'm not going to just, you know what the deal is with that. So while the shot has not been mandated for children yet, and the guidelines from the CDC and the governor's office have indicated that schools will be a vaccination administration site. Unbelievable. It is shameful that Governor Cuomo, the New York State Bar Association, de Blasio, and Carranza have all indicated that children who are largely unaffected by COVID will have to get that shot. Shame on them. Shame. So it's worth noting, if you look at the New York State Bar Association Health Law Section COVID-19 report regarding the legal justification for mandatory vaccinations, there are some significant errors. And I know this is important to lawyers, so that's why I'm putting this out there. The report states that, quote, a majority of Americans still want the vaccine. Is that true? No! So that's line number one. Line number two, it says, quote, the gravity of COVID-19. What the heck does that mean? The gravity of COVID-19, quote, presents compelling justification in the state legislature and Congress to mandate the COVID-19 vaccine. This sentence has no footnote. So what do the authors mean by the gravity, quote unquote, gravity of COVID-19? Why aren't they referencing the CDC, the death rates? So the omission of the CDC data and or mortality rates here is very, very questionable. And now, here's the most important thing that you guys have to know about, because no one's talking about it, but I'm a loudmouth about it on Instagram. Governor Cuomo said the goal is for New York to be, quote, the first state to immunize everybody, vaccinate everybody. So how can he do this? He doesn't have the right. The way he's able to do it is because of a bill called S7919. Everyone, please remember that number. And that is, it, quote, permits the governor to issue by executive order any directive necessary. That man can do anything he wants in the name of COVID. And that bill doesn't expire until April of 2021. So this medical tyranny is unacceptable. Our state reps have the power. They gave him that power, and they have the power to take it away. And wait, no one's talking about it. I'm the only one talking about it. We need to take that power away. We need to all organize and see our reps and make them take away the power granted to us. Because we're in the courts, but it's not working. Okay, so in the final note, do not be afraid. Read the Bill of Rights and do not comply with Cuomo's make-believe laws as executive orders. As Americans, we were born free. It is our birthright. I'm Elizabeth Glass. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Liz. Folks, Liz should be our role model.